tell me a wee bit about what you've been finding when you've been using the programme, and anything that's come up with the children, and any stories that you want to give me as well.
Well, I think it's brilliant, and I'm so glad that I can take it to my new school, as you say, because I do love it. I think it's fantastic. I've got a different age group next time, so I'm really interested to see how that will work with them too. So I had a 2-3 class before, and a 4-5. I'm going into a 4-5 class, so it'll be interesting to see the difference too, and feeding that back to you as well. But I think it's great. The kids love it. They often remind me if I've forgotten about it. I always get them to pick out the piece themselves, and they instruct the children on what to do. Sometimes they read it off of the book, or sometimes I give a wee whisper in their ear, and sometimes I just take it if they're not confident enough. But I think that has brought a lot of children on a lot, because there's one wee boy that I was thinking of in particular, and actually it just makes me so happy because he was doing so well. It was so lovely to see, and he got quite a bit of confidence from it. He just seemed to shine a wee bit more and be able to cope with things a bit better. He had huge struggles with resilience in class. Quite often would find him crying, but I've seen him using these techniques, and especially the breathing techniques, and it's just been huge. It's been amazing, and as I say, the kids absolutely love it. I've caught them. I think the best bit about it is you can use structures like that all the time in class, and that I might think that they're great, and I think I can see the benefits when we're using it in class. But when you really know it's working is when you see the children using it themselves. I remember there was one child who was really upset, and I was on the other side of the room, but I was hearing them because I was watching, and her friend went up to her and she just went, "Do hot chocolate breaths, do hot chocolate breaths." And then I was thinking, oh, it's just so nice. And then she calmed down and was able to tell her friend, and it was just giving that kind of coping mechanism to cope with these kind of things. And quite often hot chocolate breath came into it. I think that was definitely a favourite. But there's a wee girl that does end up crying in class. If she ends up crying in class, I really struggle getting her to calm down, to the point that she can't get her words out, and she often uses these techniques as well. I think that's when you know it's working, is when these children are actually using it to cope with the emotions that they are having, and then able to help them focus and get on with their work. I've also noticed a huge difference in their work afterwards. Some children who were struggling with motivation and energy, I really think it made a huge difference in them as well. We would usually do it after lunch or after break. I must say, I didn't always do it twice a day. I would usually maybe do it once a day, because we also got up with the time and we're trying to plan it out a bit longer, I think. But they really seemed to focus a bit more afterwards as well. I had a few children that really struggled with writing, and I think they were able to just focus, think about things a bit more, and write down what they were thinking or feeling. I just think it opened up so much for them, so much for them, and I think it was brilliant. It is a fantastic programme. And then on top of that, you've got pause, which is another whole thing in itself. Because they love pause. They love pause, and they can't get enough of it. So I made up a worksheet for them to take home, and it was the most basic worksheet in the world. I copied your logo, put it at the top, had a box for a drawing, and then some lines for some writing, and it was 2-sided. And a child, like children, and it wasn't even just a child, the children who I could maybe squeeze maybe 3 sentences out of max were writing double-sided pages when it came back. Those pages were filled of work because they just loved having him and telling me all about what they've been doing. And these are also children that didn't always do homework, so those breathing mechanisms, and teaching that to the parents at home too, that these are kind of things that, it is okay to teach, and actually it's enjoyable. I've done a lot of that during lockdown. A lot of your own videos have been fantastic. I've usually shared them with parents when you put them up, and again the mindful drawing as well, and they love that. I remember one parent had sent out some mindfulness stuff, and I think it was your video, but even if it wasn't, it wouldn't have been something I would have sent without the inspiration of you anyway. That I sent it to this parent, and she'd really been struggling getting her child motivated to go home and engaged, and she said thanks so much for that. And then also she worked as in the GP's office, so I think her son had been really worried about her, which is really tough. So I think he'd really been struggling, and I remember the mum messaging me saying thank you so much for that. I actually managed to do that with him, and he really, really enjoyed it, and it was fantastic. Because I think, again, I think some of my parents felt they had to prove themselves that they were doing work, and they didn't need to. They really didn't need to. And I did keep saying that you don't need to do it. It's up to you. Do what you can, because we know what it was like ourselves. It's not easy. 100%. I think that question, and I think it's a wee bit daft actually, because of course it will be. The main thing when we go back into schools is health and well-being. I mean, it will be. These children have been at home for so long, struggling with different things, and I know what my own health and well-being has been like through it. And I'm a grown adult with coping mechanisms, 100%. It'll be the first thing I introduce in that class, as well as other things that help with health and well-being. But I think that will be the main focus going back, because at the end of the day, your health and well-being, I've said this to people before, is the building, the support for the building blocks of learning afterwards. If you don't have that support in place, they're not going to learn anyway. I think that needs to be there, and it's a system that they're already familiar with and that they love. Why would you take that away? It's 100%. There's no doubt in my mind.